This video will guide you through the installation of Cardinal Scale Manufacturing's Harvester Truck Scale. The PSC Series Precast Concrete Deck Harvester Truck Scale is a versatile scale that is designed for above-ground installations. Site preparation is the same as with any standard Cardinal truck scale installation. Pay close attention to the foundation drawings you receive to ensure that the foundation is correct and ready to receive the scale. There is a foundation kit that will arrive prior to the ship date of the scale bridges and load cells. This kit contains templates to aid in the layout of the anchor bolts for the load cell base plates and bumper bolt stands. There is a print for the foundation template layout that shows where the chalk lines are to be made and how the template lines up with the chalk lines. It is helpful to chalk the placement of the load cell base plate anchor bolts using the templates that shipped in the kit prior to the scale arriving on location. Follow the measurements listed on the accompanying plans to ensure a smooth installation. Use the templates to mark where the load cell base plate anchor bolts will be located, as well as where the check stand anchor bolts are to be installed. It is likely that you will have to drill holes where the bumper bolts are located to place the load cell base plates and bumper stands. These bumper stands should not be grouted in place. They should set on smooth and level concrete with preset anchor bolts. Should they be set improperly, damage may occur to the load cells or the scale due to excessive movement. Install the load cell base plates as shown on the certified assembly drawings. The top of each base plate should be level within 1/32 of an inch across the surface of the plate. This is an important step, and it is crucial that all of the plates are even so that the scale operates properly. The top surface of each base plate should be at the same elevation within 1/8 inch from the highest plate to the lowest plate. A transit is recommended to confirm elevation. The scale is to be completely installed prior to grouting. Once the load cell base plates are installed, the next step is setting the weigh bridges. Before lifting the weigh bridge, please make certain that all appropriate safety procedures are closely followed and that the crane used to lift the weigh bridge has sufficient capacity to safely lift the weigh bridge. Never walk or reach beneath the weigh bridge while it is suspended. Failure to follow the proper safety procedures can lead to injury or death. Before the weigh bridges are lowered into place, attach the top plates and link plates to the underside of each weigh bridge. Due to safety concerns, do not ever walk underneath the weigh bridge while it is suspended in midair by the crane. Adjust the lateral and longitudinal bumper bolts so that they have 1/8 inch clearance. Tighten the jam nut on the bumper bolts to lock in place. Continue lowering each weigh bridge onto blocks and installing their accompanying bumper bolts. Once all of the weigh bridges are in place on their respective blocks, it is time to install the load cells. At each section, raise the weigh bridge up off the blocks using jacks and then remove the blocks. Verify that the load buttons are clean and free of dirt and debris and set the load cell in place on each respective button. Lower the weigh bridge slowly into place and verify that the load cell is centered on the top and bottom button and that the load cell is plumb. Repeat for each section until the weigh bridge is resting entirely on the load cells. Once all load cells are in place, tighten all of the bolts in the load cell base plates and bumper bolts firmly and then verify that the scale is properly located laterally and longitudinally. The conduit boxes attach to the sides of each weigh bridge section in their designated areas. Once they are in place, conduit pipe is run through them so that the load cell wiring is elevated off the ground and safely protected. When running the conduit pipes and wiring, it is important that you place the junction box in a location on the scale that won't pose any issues for all of the wiring and conduit to reach it. The junction box bar should be attached directly to the side of the scale foundation by drilling holes and installing preset anchor bolts. If your scale was ordered with side rails, it is best to install them either after the conduit boxes and pipes are installed or at the same time, since they share the same connection port on the weigh bridge. Simply slide the side rails into their receiver holes and tighten the bolts to secure them. Check each load cell in turn to determine which cells might be taking too much or too little load. A higher voltage indicates a load cell with a greater load. Adjust the leveling bolts on the appropriate load cell base plate until all load cell output voltages are within 1 millivolt or less of each other. A harvester scale will have nearly 3.2 millivolts from each center section and about half that from each of the end sections. Adjust the two load cells for each section so that they agree with each other as closely as possible. Within half of a millivolt is recommended. A little extra effort at this point is time well spent, since it has direct bearing on the ease and accuracy of section sealing the scale, as well as the customer satisfaction from the long-term operation of the scale. Verify that all of the load cell base plates are level in both directions and that all of the load cell outputs have been properly adjusted, then install grout forms or dams around each load cell base plate. If possible, it is a good idea to caulk the bottom of the forms, not only to hold them in place, but also to prevent any leakage of grout onto the surrounding foundation. Use a good non-shrinking grout. Using a funnel to pour the grout into the form is helpful and avoids spillage onto the load cell, weighbridge, or surrounding foundation. Pour enough grout so that it fills the grout form and flows fully beneath the load cell base plate. Allow the grout to cure overnight before placing a load on the scale. Make sure you maintain a tidy work area and remove excess grouting material and grout forms. Like all truck scales, Cardinal's Harvester PSC Series truck scale requires routine maintenance to keep it working at maximum efficiency and performance. For more information about Cardinal's precast concrete deck harvester truck scales, please call 1-800-441-4237 or visit us online at www.cardinalscale.com. Cardinal Scale has been building a better way since 1950.